Hey fam, it's me, Aaron, and this is Comic Buzz. It's a new thing I'm doing where there's something that I'm really pumped about. I'm worried, angry, all those emotions that have colors that Geoff Johns named. This is it. This is like, when a friend of mine, a longtime comic friend who has been loving Green Lantern with me, which is kind of the history of the store. We've had our store as long as Geoff Johns has been writing Green Lantern, texted me and he said, Johns is off Green Lantern. And my heart sank a little. And I was like, what? And then he texts me, everybody's off. And I'm like, OMG. I want to be the Blue Lantern, St. Walker, all will be well, but I was freaking out. And then I processed it and I thought about it. And now I have something to say to you guys. Okay, Geoff Johns' run was insanely epic. It's been over 9 years, over 100 issues, and like I said, this is the history of me being a comics, seller as well, owning a store. I've loved this guy since his first work on JSA, on Stars and Stripes, all that stuff, and he came on and just blew me away with Rebirth. I was a Green Lantern fan. I loved Green Lantern ever since Guy Gardner. He was my Green Lantern. I love Guy Gardner. I don't care about the bowl cut. I don't care about the one punch. At least he stood up to Batman when no one else would. And to me, it was just kind of pooped on. Okay, they made Hal insane. That's, I never really cared one way or the other for Hal. I wanted to be interesting. I love Guy Gardner. And they gave us Kyle Rayner, who I wanted to like, but I didn't. I resented him because of what happened to Guy. He was no longer Green Lantern because Kyle's the only Green Lantern. And then Kyle, as much as people love him, he was a clone of Peter Parker. He lived in New York. He was an artist, like a photographer. Oh, and his main thing is his girlfriend died. Okay, same thing. And with great power, the ring, comes great responsibility. So anyway, Johns comes along and he brings back Hal Jordan Rebirth. Yes, he could have wrote stories with Guy, or with Kyle. I love Guy. But he couldn't do that in his trilogy because his trilogy included Sinestro Corps War, which is the only thing with the dichotomy of Hal and Sinestro. There's no Kyle Sinestro, it's Hal Sinestro. And he, in this Rebirth, in making us love Hal, in bringing him back with purpose, he redeemed him by saying that Parallax, this yellow impurity that's in the power battery itself, corrupted Hal Jordan. And that's why he had those crappy gray temples for a while, because it was the fear corrupting him. Perfect. And then he can be redeemed because it wasn't him, it was Parallax. So it's enriched, and it explains the whole thing of why the Guardians had that yellow impurity. And Guy Gardner became a Lantern again during this because his Voldarian or whatever alien blood, I hated that, was rejecting his human DNA or whatever. It was all bleh. And he got a ring again. He turned down a ring several times in bad writing, but he got a ring again. That was wonderful. We had John Stewart back. We had Kilowog back, and we had Kyle still there. It was great. Then comes Sinestro Corps War. This is the big Empire Strikes Back moment. Sinestro puts together a whole corps. Why didn't he ever do that before? If he has a yellow ring, why didn't he make others? Aren't there people that want to cause fear throughout the universe? Boom. And in here, this is where I started to like John Stewart some, because I loved him in Mosaic back in the day. That's where I got this ring from the subscription. And I loved him in the cartoon show where he was an ex-Marine. That was cool. And Johns made him the sniper of the GLC and said, hey, he was an architect in his comic book origin, but he said, how do you think I got the money to go to college and become an architect? The GI Bill, I was Marine, boom, moving on, sniper, let's go. That's the beauty of Johns. He dusts it off, he makes it work, and you run with it. And then it all culminated in Blackest Night, where he had the brilliant idea to come up with all the different colors, not just the violet of this Star Sapphires and the green of willpower, which is an emotion. Willpower is feeling powerful. It's being confident. I feel confident. There, done. Okay. And then you had the fear with the yellow, and then you added rage and blue for hope and the Indigo tribe. So, and Lar Fleece, the greed, avarice, the one lantern of that. And it was just phenomenally brilliant. I loved it. I even got a Green Lantern tattoo during that. I loved it so much. And after that, he kind of did Brightest Day, where I knew it was going to be Swamp Thing the whole time, but it rebirthed a bunch of these characters. And then we had the reboot, and he did War of the Green Lanterns, and then he did Rise of the Third Army, and now it's going to be this big crescendo with Wrath of the First Lantern. his legacy, there is no way that all this stuff that he did to enrich the entire Green Lantern universe is not going to stay around the DC universe forever after his run. It's even in the freaking cartoon show. All right, so in May, all the issue 20s, every creator is leaving, all of them. So here's my thing. Here's who I think is going to come on, and here's where I think the people that are leaving should go and probably will go. Geoff Johns, it's obvious. He's doing Justice League and Justice League of America, and he's still hanging on to Aquaman. He could do a Shazam as well, ongoing, maybe with Jeff Lemire or maybe with Tomasi. Tomasi, I think he's leaving. What it said was he's leaving the book that he's doing now, Core, but I think he's leaving Green Lantern altogether, and maybe he will co-write with Johns again on Shazam or do a Cyborg book out of Justice League. Bedard, who knows? He's writing for a video game company right now. He's doing very well for himself. I would love to see him on Aquaman. I also would desperately love to see him do a sci-fi space book like he did with Rebels with Adam Strange doing crazy stuff. And Milligan on Red Lanterns. I don't know. He could move over to Constantine if Jeff Lemire is only launching the book, as he did Constantine for Vertigo. But where I would really like him to go is Doom Patrol. I think he should launch a Doom Patrol, and I think his Shade the Changing Man would fit much better in Doom Patrol than it did in Justice League Dark. Now let's talk about the future. Here's where it gets real, all right? That's my Green Lantern tattoo, you know. Okay, here it is. Here's who I'm saying is going to write Green Lantern. Boom, Rob Venditti. Why? Surrogates was a great sci-fi that was gritty, was made into a movie. Doesn't matter if the movie was good or bad. Boom, X-O Manowar. This is the flagship book of Valiant. It's wonderful. It is space craziness. I mean, the Vine is basically like the Guardians crazy. He is going to be doing it. I know this. I feel it in my bones. He's going to be doing Green Lantern, and it will be good because he has what it takes. He could be doing Core. I think he's doing Green Lantern. Justin Jordan, also from Valiant Shadow Man, I think he's going to be doing Green Lantern Core because he does books that are kind of war-based, like Team 7. And his book Deathstroke that he only got to do for a couple issues just got canceled, so he is freed up, and this is what I think Justin Jordan's going to be doing, you know. And his Luther Strode's great, and that's highly violent. I think he can do Guy Gardner. Finally, I think New Guardians is going to be Giffen because, I don't know, he did the annual of New Guardians out of nowhere to launch his Threshold book, which I really think is going to be canceled. I think it was kind of dead on arrival with the $4 price point and the non-recognizable characters other than the backup story. So I think he'll be doing New Guardians. And I think he could do that well. And one thing I like Giffen to do with that is put Nort on it. One thing Geoff Johns would not do for me. I love the guy. I begged him to put Nort into any of these books. He would not. He said it was too silly. Giffen co-created Nort. He could put him on there. And then for Red Lanterns, I think that's Felkoff. I think because he's done horror stuff, because he did I, Vampire, I think Felkoff will be on Red Lanterns, you know, if that book continues. One wild card of who I think, really who I would love to be on New Guardians, is Joshua Darst. He is doing Harbinger. I think this thing of this kind of messianic, this like young character with all these powers that has this great destiny that's overthrowing powerful things and doing great stuff that he has in Harbinger. I think he could do Kyle with a purpose in space, doing crazy stuff with the New Guardians. But I think it's going to be Giffen. And seeing that it's all new blood and seeing that it's Rob Venditti at the helm, I think the next phase of Green Lantern is going to rock. I'm going to give it a chance. I love you, Rob Venditti.